all praised Sydney as a humble giant, even after meeting his killers, still pleaded with them, yet he could have fought back in his defense.
Sydney's mother, I don't know whether she's listening, she asked a question. She said, I want one of Sydney's friends to testify whether Sydney was a bad man.
Marvin Odongo, Stanbic Black Pirates coach, says Sydney was a player who was committed to the team and he will be missed dearly. As a gesture to honor Sydney, Pirates Rugby Club has suspended jersey number 7, never to be worn again. During his speech, Councillor James Jabi, the father to Sydney, narrated his son's last days.
Our son, Sydney, was such a very humble boy. When he came into our lives, we were very, very excited and happy. He was joy, move around, cheeky, a very handsome boy. Even today, he was very handsome. Only his face, as you see, it was distorted by these savages.
At exactly 6:30 p.m., Sydney's casket was lowered amidst tears. Sydney was born on 20th September 1998, and he has left behind 2 boys, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. The sailor sailed his boat, but it did not make it to the landing site. Sydney's gigantic style of play will be missed, but he will forever be remembered as one who lifted Uganda's flag high. Helen Barbara reporting for ABC TV.
Sad story indeed, as Uganda rugby fallen star Sydney Gongodio Jabi was laid to rest at his ancestral home in Buweri, Lower Ward, Budadiri West constituency in Toronko district. Loved ones to the deceased Sydney and mourners appealed to the President of Uganda, President Museveni, to direct community court proceeding, just like it was the case for Okello Oyum, so that quick justice is privileged. And Councillor James Jabi, the father to the late condemned mob justice, did seek this and many more at that also sought this solution as a way to get justice for the death of a very young star of the Uganda's rugby sports world. It's Good Morning Uganda, starting off with a sad story, but indeed, as we say, may his soul rest in peace. You are watching UBC TV. My name is Julie F. Nantama. Welcome back from the Heroes Day celebrations. That was the scientific celebration of Heroes Day here in Uganda. That was yesterday. It is Good Morning Uganda. I am with Robert Chirabo Nyintono. Robert, good morning.
A lovely morning to you, Julie. Yes, well, that start. I was saying that young man. But we've said it all. But I learned one thing. We must look at the cause. Government of Uganda, the judiciary, police, we should sit down and examine why do people resort to mob justice.
Right.
We should sit down and examine why do people resort to mob justice. I condemn it in the strongest terms. But why? Julie, there are reasons why people take the law in their hands. Because of systems that are seemingly failing them. A person steals your cow, you get that person red-handed, hand them over to police, even tell people don't beat this person on my farm or anything. You go to police, you record a statement, you have the evidence. Court becomes court. Court becomes court. Again, you get the same vehicle in a different part stealing cows. You look at it, is the same person. Again, you go to court, you go to police, you move to there. Where are you going? I'm going to bomb. I have a court session. Until you give up. Now the next time that person comes to your farm or is got at a neighbor's place, what will this person, what will Chirabo do? What will Chirabo do?
On that
So,
same note,
I think we need to sit. What will people bother? There is so much. We need to see. We need to sensitize communities that yes, it is illegal. Please don't, because most of the times you kill the innocent.
right.
Yes.
Now, on that same note, not just the family of the late Gongodio are seeking a public court hearing, but many Ugandans have seen the conversation. Quite a number of them are saying, let what was done with Oyum be done in the same case with this time round Obed and perhaps 6 others or five others, rather. Probably 9 others, because last I watched that about 10 people so far have been arrested in regards to this. Would you still, given the background of your call in regards to mob justice, do you think a public court hearing is something that can be done based on that background?
You see, it soothes the pain. He's gone, it soothes. But also, I got disturbed with Oyum's case. When after the High Court expeditiously handled this case and the lower court, therefore, because it quickly pushed it to the High Court. But now, the Court of Appeal. Because what Ugandans want is to see that Okello's sentence, okay. If the High Court didn't do justice to Okello, maybe. But I'm getting tired of seeing soothing moments. So-and-so's been arrested because of corruption. They have gone to so-and-so's home, but what happens thereafter? So if this case can be tried in a public court, because you want justice to be handled quick, the case to be expeditiously handled, and it comes to a conclusion that yes, these men have been sentenced 20, 30 years, they will be there.
Right.
If any appeals, then the appeal process is also fast. Because now do you want to tell me that the parents who lost children, the 4 toddlers, received justice? Because if someone appeals, the trial is almost restarted.
Indeed, it is. Although, as we know, that also appeal processes take
Long.
quite the time, so that means he's still in.
You may even have some of the parents die before this comes to a conclusion.
A lot to chew on, a lot to put into perspective. Now, on that same note, Robert, take us away with what we have on the local scene.
Well, we begin with Heroes Day celebrations yesterday. Now, unlike the previous National Heroes Day celebrations marked by military parades, medal awards, and large crowds, this year's commemoration was notably subdued. At State Lodge Nakasero, the national anthem, prayers and reflections replaced the usual pomp and ceremony as Uganda marked the 37th National Heroes Day under Ebola-related restrictions. Despite the similar observancy, the message remained powerful, honoring the sacrifices of those that shaped modern Uganda while casting an eye towards the future. President Yoweri Museveni paid tribute to both civilian and armed veterans who took part in the 1981-1986 liberation struggle. He reflected on the conditions that led to the liberation war, saying Uganda's democracy, security and economy had collapsed under the previous administrations. Museveni noted that the country's progress over the past 4 decades stands as evidence of the success of that struggle. However, he shifted focus to the welfare of veterans, directing leaders of veterans associations to account for 231 billion allocated over the years, how it's been utilized. The Vice President, Jessica Alupo, attended the ceremony. She said the day served as a reminder of the sacrifices that delivered peace and stability to Uganda. State Minister for Luweero Triangle Affairs, Alice Kaboyo, praised veterans, saying their sacrifices transformed the country's history. Representing the veterans, Chigundu Kabandwa commended President Museveni and fellow former fighters for liberating Uganda and building a professional national army. As the ceremony drew to a close, there were no military parades or medal representation. Instead, the day became a moment of reflection, honoring those who sacrificed for Uganda's freedom while challenging today's generation to safeguard the peace, stability, and development achieved. President Museveni has met the East African Community Secretary General Stephen Patrick Mbudi and his delegation at State Lodge in Nakasero for talks on key issues affecting the regional bloc. The meeting focused on trade, infrastructure, staffing, health, financing, and the broader regional integration agenda. President Museveni, who is the chairperson of the East African Summit, said member states must strengthen cooperation and speed up the implementation of programs that promote shared prosperity across the region. He noted that deeper integration remains central to improving trade, movement of people, infrastructure development, and economic growth within the community. The meeting comes as the East African community continues to push for stronger coordination among partner states in addressing regional challenges and unlocking opportunities for citizens. While addressing selected individuals at Kavule Makere, Oboth assured the country that he will do a factory default reset of Parliament by empowering the communities to do their work. He said that he had already instructed the clerk to Parliament to reduce his budget from over 24.5 billion to 3 billion shillings so that funds can be used to implement planned activities of parliamentary committees. Both emphasized that Parliament must be accountable first if it is to hold government officials accountable. The promises to ensure the Parliamentary Commission does its work. The Speaker expressed concern on the delayed completion of the parliamentary chambers, yet funds are available. The Prime Minister, Robin Anabanja, thanked President Yoweri Museveni for the trust and confidence entrusted in her to serve as Prime Minister. The chairperson of the Bunyoro Parliamentary Caucus, Dr. Emily Kugonza, on behalf of the members of the Parliamentary Caucus from Bunyoro, applauded President Museveni for reappointing Nabanja, the Prime Minister of Uganda. The dinner was graced by the Deputy Head of Public Service in charge of service delivery, Ms. Jane Kyasirima Mwesigwa, the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Julius Victor Nkerohingo, and the Chairperson of the National Planning Authority, Dr. Pamela Mbabazi. Dozens of members of Parliament and the LC5 Chairperson, Wakiso Ian Cheyune, among other dignitaries. Local artists Silver Chagulanyi and Fred Sebale entertained the guest. Well, let's look at Ebola response. Now, Uganda has commended the World Health Organization and other partners for coming out to support Uganda and Democratic Republic of Congo to collaborate in ending the Ebola outbreak. The Minister for Health, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, is optimistic that the collaboration between Uganda and DRC will help to end the outbreak. The visit by the World Health Organization team to Uganda and DRC has signaled solidarity in the struggle to end the current Ebola outbreak. The Minister for Health, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, said this support in partnership with World Health Organization will help to strengthen the response, particularly at the epicenter DRC. Uganda is preparing to send medical teams to DRC with support from World Health Organization. Minister Baryomunsi called on the public to become and take responsibility in curbing the spread of Ebola virus disease by following standard operating procedures. Now, with those stories, we come to the end of our local stories. Let's see what Julie has for us on the international scene.
All right, thank you very much, Robert. My highlight from the local scene is that video clip of the Right Honorable Minister dancing, Honorable Nabanja.
She's a happy soul.
She's such a vibe. Such a vibe. I think one person to always enjoy being around. Let's look at what we have on the foreign scene, and we're starting off with matters. U.S. that has launched strikes on Iran after President Donald Trump accused the country of shooting down a U.S. helicopter over the Strait of Hormuz. American forces began strikes at 17:00 on Tuesday in response to the helicopter downing. U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, said the mission is a proportional response to unjustified Iranian aggression. CENTCOM said in a statement, blasts were reported along the coast of the Persian Gulf and Strait of Hormuz. The two crew members of the downed USA Apache helicopter were rescued by an American sea drone, CENTCOM said. It was the first time the U.S. military publicly confirmed the type of vessel was used in such an operation. There were two pilots involved, but both are safe and uninjured, Trump wrote on Truth Social. Nevertheless, the United States must, of necessity, respond to this attack. According to U.S. officials, Iran used a drone to launch the attack. But it's not clear whether the Iranian drone had deliberately attacked the helicopter. An unarmed, unnamed U.S. official told CBS News, the BBC's U.S. partner. Iranian media appeared to acknowledge the incident, with the semi-official MAN news agency reporting that Iran had not claimed responsibility for the downed aircraft. Hours after the attack, CENTCOM announced that the U.S. had carried out strikes in Iran as a response. It called the strikes a proportional response to unjustified Iranian aggression. Now, India's fertility rate has, for the first time, fallen below the level needed to stop the population from shrinking, raising concerns about the future labor shortages and an aging society. Robert, calm down. But for decades, India has seen rapid population growth, and according to government statistics, including the sample registration system statistical report, the country's largest demographic survey, India has had a falling fertility rate for some years, but the reproduction rate remained high enough to keep the population growing. The latest SRS report released last month by India's Office of the Registrar General and Census Commissioner said that India's total fertility rate had dropped to 1.9 children per woman, lower than the benchmark level of 2.1 needed to keep the population stable in the long run. TFR is the average number of children that a woman is expected to have in her lifetime. In the 2000s, India's TFR was around 3.3 births per woman. So what is behind reduced fertility? Why does it matter, and what are the consequences? Now on to the continent, looking at a bit of matters football. Somali referee Omar Atan says he was subjected to an 11-hour immigration interview before being denied entry to the United States for the World Cup, despite holding the right papers and the right visa. Atan, who was set to be the first Somali to referee at World Cup finals was dropped from the list of officials on Monday after he was barred from entering the country at Miami International Airport. No reason for Artan's repatriation has been issued by U.S. immigration authorities, but Somalia is one of the several countries on a travel ban list introduced by President Donald Trump's administration. After speaking to the U.S. authorities, world governing body FIFA said Artan will miss the tournament. I am very, very disappointed, Artan told the New York Times external. I'm just simply a referee who's trying to live his dream, the biggest dream of my life, to come to the World Cup. A FIFA statement on the decision said FIFA can confirm that match official Omar Abdulkadir Artan will be unable to train and officiate at the FIFA World Cup 2026 after he was denied entry into the United States. A senior advisor to Somalia's Ministry of Youth and Sports confirmed the denial of entry to the BBC and said Artan had been traveling with valid documents. Wow. Some stories are words fail you.
And the explanations?
Not yet given. No official explanation has been given as yet, at least.
But I think also now it's time Africa will rise up and make some people understand what we go through when it applies to them as well. Yes, he who pays the piper determines the tune. I was just looking at a story in the papers today, health sector in transition, struggles over donor bat. You see, being proud of who you are, and that's why I like President Museveni so very much. Because I think it was even during the State of Nation address when he said, there is where we are supposed to be as Africans.
Right.
We need to raise up and know that there are things we can do. We can also have this visa. Because if this young man has a dream, he's committed no crime that you've shown. You know, he's entitled, he's arrived, he's denied. Then we are talking about racism, the world being a global thing, we are talking about all this, but still we are being sidelined. It's now also when we stand up and say, gentlemen, also have a feel of what we go through. This is this, that is that. I dream to see that day, and I'm happy with our leadership. We shall see when certain things are getting to that level.
Shall we?
Africa, we need to believe in ourselves. You know, Julie, the Bible says, is it when someone slaps you on this, bring the... I don't succumb to that. I feel someone should understand what someone has gone through. Then some people only understand when they feel what you feel.
Indeed, what do we have on the daily this morning?
Now, beginning with a new vision, Museveni orders probe into pay of veterans. No sleep. Check into that. Who will replace Archbishop Kazimba?
Big question.
Big question. And of late also church politics is also becoming very tactical as well. So who will replace him? The Arsenal fans will really miss our brother there. Then 9 arrested over rugby stars murder. And still 160 Ugandan medics sent to fight Ebola in DRC. We've sent a team, of course with support from the World Health Organization. That is what Uganda is when you're talking about our country. We're not having foreign doctors flying, but Ugandan doctors going to assist to help the situation there. Proud of my country. Now we move to the Daily Monitor this morning. What is there? Besi Jesus Muhozi, well, there are details there. Museveni orders probe into veterans. 230 billion. Who ate the money? Well, we wait and see. Then Parliament slams doors on defeated jobless MPs.
Interesting.
Oh, and worse when they invested and didn't return.
Yep.
They need help, definitely. Then health sector struggles to transition from donor cash. And family seeks lasting tribute to foreign Wudo fire heroine. You remember this young girl who helped her friends and died in the fire, still saving them? And Julie's friend here, what has he got today? No, let me reserve him. Please.
Let's have a look at the Daily Nation, and the headline there is Gachagua defiant. That's the headline. Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has vowed to fight the High Court decision that upheld his impeachment, even as he announced a 45-day political conclave starting next week to come up with a single opposition candidate to face President William Ruto in the 2027 polls. Also inside, what ruling means for Riggy G and his allies in opposition. And of course, more pain for patients as SHA system outage enters day 4. And matter surveillance, fresh queries over Kenya's Ebola tests, and congestion, hunger, peer pressure, the troubles in public schools in Kenya. All of those stories in the Daily Nation. This brings us to the end of what we have on the local scene, the foreign scene, and within the dailies, allowing us to take a short break. And when we get back, it's another conversation that Robert will be handling. So save the number 0709-602592. I'll be back with tourism, and we'll be having business and then the agenda as well as sports. So there's still a lot for you. Thank you for being part of the show. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
In rugby, you play by watching each other's back. As a player, when you commit, the one next to you has to have your back. Sydney is down. How can we have his back as a fraternity? Whatever happened was the most brutal thing I've ever watched. I've also saved those images, but I do not forget. Things happen for a reason. I believe this is what I believe. I believe that Sydney has gone this way as defenseless as he looked, because he was not defenseless. He could have killed so many of those people.
Southern thronged Tronco district to send off Uganda's flanker, lock and winger Sydney Gongodio Jerry, who was also a student at Makerere University pursuing software engineering. Somber mood, but donned in rugby jerseys from different clubs, showed up to show their last respect for Sydney. During speeches from friends and teammates of Sydney, they all praised Sydney as a humble giant, even after meeting his killers, still pleaded with them, yet he could have fought back in his defense.
Sydney's mother, I don't know whether she's listening, she asked a question. She said, I want one of Sydney's friends to testify whether Sydney was a bad man.
Marvin Odongo, Stanbic Black Pirates coach, says Sydney was a player who was committed to the team and he will be missed dearly. As a gesture to honor Sydney, Pirates Rugby Club has suspended jersey number 7, never to be worn again. During his speech, Councillor James Jabi, the father to Sydney, narrated his son's last days.
Our son, Sydney, was such a very humble boy. When he came into our lives, we were very, very excited and happy. He was joy, move around, cheeky, a very handsome boy. Even today, he was very handsome. Only his face, as you see, it was distorted by these savages.
At exactly 6:30 p.m., Sydney's casket was lowered amidst tears. Sydney was born on 20th September 1998, and he has left behind 2 boys, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. The sailor sailed his boat, but it did not make it to the landing site. Sydney's gigantic style of play will be missed, but he will forever be remembered as one who lifted Uganda's flag high. Helen Barbara reporting for ABC TV.
Sad story indeed, as Uganda rugby fallen star Sydney Gongodio Jabi was laid to rest at his ancestral home in Buweri, Lower Ward, Budadiri West constituency in Toronko district. Loved ones to the deceased Sydney and mourners appealed to the President of Uganda, President Museveni, to direct community court proceeding, just like it was the case for Okello Oyum, so that quick justice is privileged. And Counsel James Jabi, the father to the late condemned mob justice, did seek this and many more at that also sought this solution as a way to get justice for the death of a very young star of the Uganda's rugby sports world. It's Good Morning Uganda, starting off with a sad story, but indeed, as we say, may his soul rest in peace. You are watching UBC TV. My name is Julie F. Nantaba. Welcome back from the Heroes Day celebrations. That was the scientific celebration of Heroes Day here in Uganda. That was yesterday. It is Good Morning Uganda. I am with Robert Chirabo Nyintono. Robert, good morning.
A lovely morning to you, Julie. Yes, well, that start. Saying that, young man. But we've said it all. But I learned one thing. We must look at the cause. Government of Uganda, the judiciary, police, we should sit down and examine, why do people resort to mob justice?
Right.
We should sit down and examine, why do people resort to mob justice? I condemn it in the strongest terms. But why? Julie, there are reasons why people take the law in their hands. Because of systems
That do not operate.
that are seemingly failing them.